Self Love Sunday. I am Moe Sass, your host of Self Love Sundays with Sass. I am your vision and empowerment and extreme execution coach who comes every single Sunday so we can talk about all the ways in which we can better our best. And the very first question I have for you is, have you grabbed your copy of Find Your Way? 7 Ways to Love and Heal Yourself. I am so excited at the results and the testimonies that I'm getting from the book, and I want to see as many people healed. As a matter of fact, I'm on a mission to 1 million people healed this year in the year of 2023. So I hope you grab your copy. I'm going to leave the link in my bio, www.mosass.com, and you can also find it on Amazon. And let's talk about it, y'all. It is May, and I was going to have some things set up, but then so many things happened this week. I said, you know what? I'm just going to come talk to my people. I'm just going to come talk to my people for a minute and just be real, y'all. Like, I have had a week. And my son, my baby, the baby of 6, he went to the prom on Friday. And let me just tell y'all this. The process of getting that boy to the prom was something, okay? It was really something. Because my son, you know, he's particular. He likes what he likes. And in this season of my life, I'm not apologizing for the things that I do and I enjoy to do, especially when it comes to my children. So no apologies on the fact that my son likes what he likes, and you know he didn't just want to rent a tux. He wanted something custom. We did what he wanted to do, but also in the process of this, my son was trying to become a young man because he works and he owns his own money. He wanted to do certain things on his own. And because of that, it caused a lot of last minute situations and just chaos, y'all. It was just like everything that could go wrong Friday was going wrong. So for example, he kind of waited to the last minute to get the car that he wanted to get. You know, we went to go rent the car. He actually had his dad call because at this point, y'all, I had it. Okay, I went on the journey of getting the shoes, the tux, and all the other things. Right, for this car, I was like at my wits' end. So his dad stepped in. They went to rent the car. Now, listen to this. We are on the way to get the car. Like we live in Pennsylvania. We're on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. We get a message that says they had to cancel the car on the way to go pick up the car. Oh my God, when you talk, because by then this is the day of the prom where it's done. We can't rent another car, especially the kind of car that, you know, he wanted. Oh my goodness. So in the midst of all that happening, I have a photographer that I use for my stuff, but she was out of town. And so I was scrambling last minute to find a photographer because my son thought he had somebody and he didn't. I was messaging back and forth with a person, you know, and the morning of the prom, we were emailing back and forth, and he canceled saying that, you know, it's too last minute for him. I'm like, oh my God. So photographer is canceled. I called my other son, because I have a son who's 30 years old. He had a friend who was a photographer. He's out of town, but he knew somebody else. And then they called me. And by the time this guy called me, I literally had like 2 hours left before it's time for him to get ready to go to prom. And I was just done. I was pacing at this point. Like, just to tell you guys, I was pacing outside back and forth. I'm pacing. And so he calls me. We have this conversation. And I'm just like, listen, it's not you. It has just been a day, and I'm telling him what happened. And this photographer, his name is Pernell Night Media. I'm actually going to tag him because he came in and really saved the day. My son was down, and he came in, y'all, like, don't worry about it. I got you. This photographer came in and changed the mood for all of us because I was just at my wits' end. I'm being very honest about my emotions. I was a little upset with my son because I wanted to handle things months ago because my personality is I like order. So I wanted to have everything in order in January. Okay, if you'd asked me, I'd have did this last year. Like, that's how prepared I like to be. My son is nothing like me. He wants to flow with the wind of life. Everything is the last minute. You know, everything's always working out for me is my motto. However, and I create that. I create that by making sure I have things lined up. So it was just a day. And then on top of all of that was going on, me getting my son ready for the prom, there's a lot of things going on in my day-to-day job. You know, a lot of things, because I am a manager in the telecom industry, just a lot of things going on there. And on top of it, for those of you who've been rocking with me for a minute, you know I'm also a lead facilitator in E.T. the Hip Hop Preacher, Eric Thomas's a community, and they went through a branding change, essentially a change. They're no longer Breathe University. They went to Eric Thomas University. So I'm one of the leads on the accountability call. So when you talk about a changeover like that, a lot of things changed. Some people went on to do bigger and better ventures. That were actually some of the other people that we were, all worked together. And so it was a change. It was a change in time. It was just so much change, so much uncertainty. So I was just going through a lot of emotions through everything that was happening, right? And so as a result of this, I was feeling how I was feeling. Let me just keep that real. I was mad with my son. I was like, listen, this last minute stuff don't work for me, right? And then, being then on my job, we're hearing all this, be grateful stuff. Just be grateful you have a job. And in my mind, I'm like, it wasn't directed towards me, but it was on a conference call. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, number one, you can still be grateful and desire for things to change. I am great. We are all grateful for being here, but majority of us that are here now, we're all like have 25 years or more. Oh yeah, we're grateful to being here, and we're also, there's gratitude for the loyalty and for the things that we've invested in the company, right? So it's like all of this stuff, and then we are on the calls now, and now is a new set of people, and so it's just starting up this brand new university, which is so dope on so many levels. Listen, everybody knows that Eric Thomas was on my vision board, so to be a part of his new company and to be on the ground as it's getting started, and the new direction is just everything for me. And still within all of that, there's anxiety, there's nervousness, there's just so many emotions. And why am I bringing all of this up? Because I want to talk about something today that a lot of people don't talk about, which is false positivity. Because I was talking to some people about it. And again, the same thing on my job, right? Just be grateful. Just look at just look at the bright side of things. Now, my natural, if you know me, my natural characteristics of myself is I'm always positive. Like everything's always working out for me. But what I've learned in my healing journey, and I need you to hear me, what I've learned in my healing journey is there's something called false positivity. And what that is, and I'm going to define it, is it's an exercise of misplaced optimism excessively and indiscriminately across all circumstances. So when we talk about false positivity, it delays accepting the adversity, prevents appropriate emotions, and forces us to deny or minimize the magnitude of negative feelings that have risen to the surface. Because sometimes when things come up, when emotions come up, we should be paying attention to them, not just shoving it to the side and saying, it's all good, everything is all right. Listen, what false positivity does is it forces us to deny our emotions, and that's not healing. What I've learned along the way is when I stuff my emotions down, I'm just like, it's all good, it don't matter, it's everything's gonna be okay. When I do that, but in the inside, I'm feeling angst, and I'm feeling a little resentful, and I'm feeling a little bit pissed off. I realize that when I deny those emotions, they don't go away. What they do is they store up in my body, and they end up coming out wrong in another situation. So I was feeling all that I was feeling, and it brought up to a level of frustration that I wasn't voicing, because I just kept saying, it's going to be okay. It's all good. That's great. And we can always say that we know that everything always works out for us and still be honest about our emotions. That's why you see me looking around, because I was looking for my emotion wheel. Because that's why we have these emotions. We have these emotions because there are things that are happening with us that we don't have to say. We don't always have to be happy all the time. We don't always have to be glad all the time. There's going to be situations that happen in our lives that's going to cause us to grieve. We're going to have sadness. When my friends moved on, who I love, listen, they called us the Diamond Six. And out of the Diamond Six, we were the ones who were working in ET's accountability group. Only 3 of us stayed. There was some sadness in that. There's some sense of loss in there. Okay, although the friendships are going to stay, but I was rocking with these people every single morning for a straight year in a couple of months, right? Like this is us every single morning. So there's an adjustment there. There's adjustment of us having to work with other people who were also leads in the community that we hadn't worked with on a daily basis. There was an uprooting of people who were a part of the calls who are no longer there, who we've grown to love. And the thing is, people don't understand is too, I'm real with mine. I don't show up every single morning in ET's community because I'm under some false statement like me and ET gonna be best friends. I ain't even in it for that. People are so screwed up. Do you know, in my heart and my mind, I feel like ET has saved me on multiple levels. He is the reason why I'm the way I am now, the reason why I'm thriving in my job, the reason why I'm thriving in my company, the reason why my book was finished. It was the words that he had been given to me over the last couple of years. And in my mind, it was about me giving back. Like, how can I give back as personally develop myself, right? By the person who has been helping me all along. This was one of the avenues. And I'm gonna tell you the truth about it. I didn't know I was gonna actually be a lead. I was chosen. I was chosen. I just joined the community to be a part of it. And I was chosen last year to be one of the leads by a group of just phenomenal humans who saw leadership in me at a point where I didn't think I was even, up to leading in that capacity. And so now that I'm here, it's something, when they talk about being in your gift and your gift will make room for you. My gift is wanting to see people win and being able to have this thing about me that's going to hold your feet to the fire. Like, I'm going to hold you accountable to help you get from point A to point B. If you've taken the flight assessment, my two highest character traits are flight attendant and pilot. And I operate in my pilot full blown, right? And I'm not and again, in this season, I'm not apologizing for that. I've grown to love my pilot. My pilot is going to take you from point A to point B. Now, my pilot going to be direct, but it's going to get that business done. And if you don't know what the flight assessment is, actually message me and I can actually talk to you about it, because I'm actually certified to give the flight assessment as a coach. And I don't want to get into all of that. The reason for the video today was really to talk about how this Friday, everything that could have blown up, blew up. And so I wanted to talk to you about what happens. Let me just give you, the top 5 things that I did when everything seemingly was going wrong. What did I do? The first thing I did was I took a walk. I was feeling some kind of way. I was really upset. I took a walk. And within that walk, I actually phoned my best friend. I love my best friend, y'all. That's my guy. We've known each other since the 8th grade, but we've been rocking tight as BFs for the past, 10 plus years. It's been 2 years now. That's just my guy. And I can call him in these situations, and we were talking. And so throughout this talk, there were some things that took place, but I realized I didn't start from the beginning. I need to go all the way back to the morning. The very first thing I did was I actually spoke my true emotions. I spoke my true emotions to people who I trust and love, and they are part of the Diamond Six. What I was really feeling, about things that were happening. I didn't know why I was feeling that way. I need you guys to hear this. The very first thing I did was I spoke my truth. I didn't really know why I was speaking my truth, but I did. I spoke my truth, right? The second thing I did, because of all of the frustration that was happening with my son, was then I went for the walk. And then I also phoned a friend. And so within that, we were having this conversation, and my friend, he does what the same thing I do, right? He was like, well, you got to be grateful in this moment that you were able to do the things for your son. We were talking about it. And I said, something, in this season, I am very grateful. And I'm also going to be honest about my emotions, because in the past, I wasn't always honest about my emotions. I would make it like, okay, everything is all good and it was okay. And the truth of the matter is, it really wasn't. I wasn't feeling good about situations that would occur with people. And I really had different emotions that I was feeling, but I wouldn't voice them. And here's what I've learned in this season of my life. I'm not a victim. I can change the trajectory of my life. I can choose something different. I can choose a different avenue. I can choose a different thought. So I chose in this moment to speak my truth. And I said to my best friend, I said, something? All of those things are true. And here's the thing. You can be great. You be grateful and still desire for things to change. You can be grateful and still have sadness. You can be grateful and still have anger. You can be grateful and still be in the state of kind of confusion and just man, just question things. All of that and still be grateful. And so we had this great conversation. So I love my best friend. This is what we do for each other. So during that conversation, I was self-assessing. So I want you to hear what I said. The first thing I did was this morning, I spoke my truth to my friends. The second thing I did was went for a walk. The third thing I did was talk to my best friend. And as I was talking to him, I was able to help him see that in the moment, I got the gratitude thing, but I wanted to be honest about what I was really feeling. The next thing I did was I started to self-assess. I said, I was talking to him. I was like, the reason why I'm I'm talking about my emotions and I'm going through this is because I want to, I really want to dig deep on why I feel this way. Because questions are the answers, y'all. Questions are the answer. I'm like, why do I feel this way? And then I started to ask myself, like, how do I want to respond in situations like this? And I'm saying this to him as I'm talking because there's a difference between venting and being a victim, right? I was venting about things, but it wasn't like, woe is me. It was because I needed to walk through it. I need to process it. Because a lot of times we don't process our emotions, so we don't know why we feel the way we do, right? And the other thing was, I was saying to him, like, the only certain thing in life is change. In this season, what type of leader, how do I want to show up? What type of leader do I want to be in this season? What type of leader do I want to be in Eric Thomas's new university, ETU? What type of leader do I want to be in this season with in my home with my son now getting ready to graduate high school? I have no more babies. What type of leader do I want to be, in terms of my place of employment, which is my job, and all the things that are happening, in that realm? Like, what type of leader do I want to be in this season? So it really helped me to self-assess. But as I was doing that and I'm walking and talking, I'm also working things out on the back end. So we were able to get my son a photographer, and the photographer came in and, just did a phenomenal job with shifting my son's mood, shifting my mood. And, my other two daughters, Alexis and Kamora, was there. And, his dad came as well. And then my other son, Antoine, we all leaned on each other. Like, I leaned on my son, and he was the oldest son, right? Because they play a different role in my life now because he's 30. He shows up very differently now. So for me, it was about understanding that, this is a different season. There's a lot of season of unknowns. There's a lot of season of newness. How do I want to respond in that? And I'm telling you how I want to respond because I want you to show up and respond like this in your life. You don't have to live by this false positivity. You don't have to live by, I need to show up everywhere and just be happy and just be smiling and just be grateful and live with this mask on. You don't have to do that. You can be very grateful and be honest about your emotions. There's a reason why these emotions are there, and you can talk them through. See, the difference is before I would show up in explosive anger and just go off. Now I'm self-assessing and walking through why I was feeling the way that I was feeling. And really and truly, when I got down to the root of why I was feeling the way I was feeling, especially with my son's prom, is because I wanted him to have the best day ever. And as a mom, I do have that little controlling part of me. It's like, listen, anything within my power that I can make that day special for my kids, I'm going all out. And when it doesn't pan out the way that I think that it should, because here's me and my control being honest about me, right? That I'm like, okay, it's bothering me. Like, I'm upset and I'm pissed off. And then I'm like, well, if we wouldn't wait until the last minute. But what's the truth? The truth is life will always life, and everything is still always working out for me. I'm still abundant. I'm still blessed. He still had an amazing day. I want you to do the same exact thing for you. And this is why I wrote my book, because these are the exercises that I had to do with myself. I had to dig deep into me so that I can remain whole, heal. And I also realized that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So if I start to walk it out this way with my friendships, I'm going to walk it out that way with my relationships with my children. I'm going to walk it out that way on my job, right? I'm going to walk it out that way in Eric's community. I'm going to walk it out that way in my personal business, because I am a vision and empowerment and extreme execution coach. I'm going to walk it out that way with my new divinely guided partner that God has aligning the wheels for me. Okay, it's happening. It is what it is, right? So that is definitely happening. How do I know it? Because I'm setting myself up for it. And the biggest thing that you can do is, number one, be honest about your emotions. Number two, phone a friend that's not going to, help you stay in that messy emotional place, but allow you to process and walk through it. Still, allow you to say, hey, listen, I get it, and I'm still feeling this way, and let you walk through that. Take a walk. Don't you just walk? I mean, that walk outside just gave me so much clarity. Ask yourself some questions. Ask yourself, why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? How do I want to respond in this situation? How do I want to show up in this season of my life? How do I want to lead in this season of my life? Tell yourself, like, listen, we don't have to live in a false positive state. We don't have to deny our emotions. That doesn't make us a negative person. It actually makes you a healed person that's literally continuing to work on your healing journey. And and then also remind yourself, like, listen, it is okay to be grateful and still desire change, and understanding that there's a difference between venting and a victim. Okay, of somebody who is just venting to walk through a process to help you process your emotion, that's normal. But being the victim is, oh, woe is me and I can't do anything about it, and it's everybody else's fault and I'm blaming everybody and everything. That's a completely different mindset. Okay, so thank you guys for allowing me to come and walk this through with y'all, because I'm telling y'all, your girl was all up and through her feelings. Okay, but today I feel so great knowing that my baby had the time of his life. Y'all, if you follow me on Facebook, Moe Sass, or Instagram, Life Coaching with Sass, you'll see the pictures that the photographer also took. My son, listen, I'm not just saying it because it's my son, but I'm just gonna let y'all know my son, he did that. Okay, he handsome as all get out. I'm so proud of my babies. I can't even believe that. And I'm ending this. I'm ending this soon, but I do want to say this: hang in there with your kids, because the relationship that I have with my 30-year-old son now, the relationship, even with my daughters, even though, they're 21 and 23, and, they still get on my nerve, okay? They still get on all the nerves that I didn't even know I had. And then now we know the baby being 18, and then Ashley is actually the oldest. She lives in New York, but the four younger ones are closer to me. They're closer to me in meaning proximity, like they're here, and in Pennsylvania. Just hang in there with them, because the dynamics of relationship, it can change. I'm just going to say this to you. Don't require them to change. You change. As I continue to work and change and work on my healing, those relationships are getting better. And I'm going to say this to all the parents out there. Your kids sometimes are going to see you as negative. My kids do that too. They be like, oh, mom, you negative, this and that and the other, because I don't see the world the way they see it. Here's what I'll say to you, because this is what I said to my kids. I realize to you, this is how you see me, and your feelings are 100% valid. As your mother, the things that I can offer you, because I do offer these to my children, is, for us to go to therapy, them also to go to therapy separately. And only thing that I can do also offer to you is my healing. I understand where you're coming from, but as a person who's lived longer and is wise, I have wisdom, and I've seen things, and I also have the ability to see things beyond your years. I realize that it may seem that way to you, and that's okay. But what I'm never going to do, parents, what I'm never going to do is shrink back and cower down and not be who I really am, not continue to see my growth, not continue to work on my growth because they see me in a particular light. The thing is with children, there's a certain point that happens where there's some type of trauma that happened, and they can't see you past that point until they get past a certain point, right? They won't see all the changes in you, but that doesn't mean that you don't keep working on it. But what you have to do is really show up and change. So what I mean by that is, I used to yell and scream all the time. I don't do that no more. I'm not doing all of that. I don't do that, right? So there's some things that I had to change with me, and I still continue to work on my growth. I'm never going to be perfect. I don't claim that. But what I won't do is, I recognize that their feelings and their emotions are valid. That's so important. Don't void that out. They see things the way they see it for a reason. And sometimes we can't see ourselves, and that's okay. But what we don't do is shut them down. We don't do that. We understand they see it the way they see it. And we offer to not just get them help single-handedly, but say, hey, listen, I'm willing to come in. I'm willing to come in and listen and hear what you have to say in a safe environment. The environment is safe for them, and it's also safe for me. Right? Because I am a human who gets triggered. And everybody want to be like, oh, parents shouldn't do this. And parents, we are human. First and foremost, we are human beings having human experiences. And we would love to live in a false positive world and just hold it all together all the time. The truth of the matter is, that's not the reality of life. And I'm not living in a fake false reality to try to come on some camera and act like everything is good for somebody not to judge me. Judge away. I don't care because it's real. We are real people with real human emotions. We love our children, but there are things that happen. We have traumas and all sorts of things just like everyone else. So we do the best that we can. And how we can do the best we can is we can get them the help that they need. We can get ourselves the help that we need. Continue on our healing journey and also make a safe environment so you guys can eventually come together in a healing environment when they are ready. You can't force it. I don't force it on them. I say, listen, when you're ready, if you want, to do this, I'm here. I'm willing to do that. That's the best that you can do. And that's all that you can do. You can't force anybody to do anything to change, but you can work on you. You can change. You can love and heal yourself. And that's another reason why I wrote my book, because I want the dynamics and the DNA of families to change. And they can. They really can. So I love you for listening. I hope that something I said today helps you and resonates in some way, shape, or form. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any sort of questions at info@moesass.com. Also, www.moesass.com is my website if you want to check out any of my coaching or have any sort of questions for me. I'm always down for questions. I'm always down to have conversation. That's just how I roll. Also, I have the links in the bottom of my bio so you can purchase my book. You can either purchase on my website, which you'll get an autographed copy, or Amazon. It's okay, because I know everybody loves Prime, because I do too, okay? So you can also get it there. I love you. Have the most amazing week.